Welcome to these Class 37/5 diesel-electric locomotives in rail freight sector livery. This brief introduction will go through the startup and stop procedures. The rear locomotive is already running with its tail lights on and its handbrake released. Climb aboard the lead locomotive to get started. A lot of time will be spent driving, so take a seat to continue. The master key is used to activate the driver's controls. Set the reverser as indicated. Go ahead and start the locomotive. With the handbrake holding the locomotives, set the train brake as indicated. The main reservoir will take a moment to charge. This can be observed by watching the brake dials. Now use the reverser to set the direction of travel. Lights and a head code are important to let anyone around know that this locomotive is It's time to move. Set the handbrake as indicated. Increase the throttle to start moving. Do not apply too much power too quickly. With the train now moving, it's possible to apply more power and focus on achieving a desired speed. Coasting is a method used to efficiently maintain a constant speed and reduce engine stress and maintenance requirements. Make use of the brakes and throttle controls to manage the train and prevent overspeeding. Approaching the stop marker, apply a small amount of brake force to achieve a comfortable stop. Good work. That concludes all the basics of this locomotive. Welcome to this Class 101 3-car diesel mechanical multiple unit in British Rail blue and grey livery. This brief introduction will cover startup, stopping and passenger operations. Before getting started, some of the controls must be set in the rear cab. Head over and climb aboard. Red lights are used to signify while the brakes in the lead vehicle hold the train, set this brake as indicated. Everything's now set up, so head to the front of the train to continue preparations. When ready, sit in the driver's seat. The control circuit key is used to activate the driver's desk. White lights will indicate to anyone around that this is the front of the operational train. This train features 2 engines in each driving vehicle. Start the engines in this vehicle. Now start the engines in the rear vehicle. Give a quick glance of the platform to ensure all is set. Now use the reverser to set the direction of travel. It's time to move. Set the handbrake as indicated. This train features a gear system similar to cars on the road. To attain higher speeds, the active gear must be increased at the appropriate time. When accelerating, the brakes on this train act like a water tap. The higher the setting, the faster the train will stop. Open the valve to select the desired pressure, then close it again to maintain it. Increase the throttle to start moving. Do not apply too much power too quickly. It's important to provide a smooth ride for passengers. The process of changing gear has several steps. Set the throttle to idle and allow the engine RPM to reduce below the yellow zone. Engage the new gear, then return to the desired throttle application. Let's try. Observe that the train now has the ability to accelerate to a higher speed. When the RPM dial reaches the top of the yellow zone, repeat the gear change process to continue accelerating. There's a short distance between here and the next stop, so be sure to manage the train and prevent overspeeding. To cruise at a constant speed, the highest gear should be engaged. This reduces the speed the engine operates at and is fuel efficient. Stopping a train in the right place is the greatest skill of a driver. It may take a few attempts to get it right. The brake control on this train opens a vacuum, releasing pressure holding the brakes off the wheels. To maintain a specific pressure, close this valve by setting the handle to the lapped position. Aim to be doing no more than 15 miles per hour when the train reaches the platform, then come to a stop anywhere alongside. Start applying a small amount of brake force now to achieve a comfortable stop. Well done. Practice makes perfect. Good work. That's the basics covered. A manual can also be obtained that provides more detail about the full functionality of this train and more. Welcome to this Class 08 diesel-electric shunting locomotive in BR Corporate Blue livery. This brief introduction will go through the start and stop procedures. Before entering the locomotive, the battery isolation switches need setting. Start with the left side. As with the left battery isolation switch, set the right side. Enter the cab and continue preparations. Active lights are important to let others around know this locomotive is operational. A lot of time will be spent driving, so take a seat to continue. Go ahead and start the locomotive. Now that the engine is running, the master switch. The main reservoir will take a moment to charge. This can be observed by watching the brake dials. To ensure that nothing moves while preparations continue, adjust the locomotive brake accordingly. The locomotive brake is holding the train, so the rest of the brakes can be released. The reverser is used to set the track alignment plays a large role when maneuvering around a yard. Head out on foot and adjust the indicated junction as required. The path is now set. Head back to the cab and continue preparations. It's time to move. Set the locomotive brake. Increase the... train now moving, it's possible to apply more power and focus on achieving the desired speed. Coasting is a method used to efficiently maintain a constant speed and reduce engine stress. Make use of the brakes and throttle controls to manage the train and prevent overspeeding. Approaching the stop marker, apply a small amount of brake force to achieve a comfortable stop. Good work. That concludes all the basics of this locomotive.
Welcome to this BR146.2 electric locomotive in DB traffic red livery. During this brief introduction, we will go through the startup, stopping and passenger door operations. Climb aboard to get started. The battery will power up the control desk and allow you to interact with it. This locomotive draws power from the overhead electrical supply via a contact arm mount. A lot of your time will be spent. To get the locomotive up and running, set the master switch. Headlights are important in letting others... We now need to wait a moment and let the brakes in. Now activate the pantograph so that it raises up and makes contact with the overhead catenary. The locomotive is now ready. When stopped for longer periods of time, or when leaving the cab, a parking brake is engaged. Use the master switch to determine the direction of travel. Give a quick glance of the platform to ensure all is safe, and then unlock the doors. Boarding is now complete, so set the doors to lock. The train brake is used for normal line operations. Due to the size and weight of this train, small amounts of traction should be used to overcome initial fall. Now we're rolling, we can apply more power, and focus can be diverted towards achieving a desired speed. Coasting is a method used to easily move without engaging power. On a flat gradient, this is great for maintaining a speed limit. There's a short distance between here and your next stop, so be sure to manage the train and prevent overspeeding. Final approach to Gimmerman, and will soon need to start applying a small amount of brake force to achieve a comfortable stop. or unlock the doors to allow passenger boarding to commence. Good work! That concludes all the basics of this locomotive. Welcome to this BR185.2 electric locomotive in DB Railion livery. During this brief introduction, we will go through the startup and stop procedures. Climb aboard to get started. The battery will power up the control desk and allow you to interact with it. This locomotive draws power from the overhead electrical supply. A lot of you. To get the locomotive up and running, set the master switch. Headlights are important. We now need to wait a moment and let the brake system charge. It'll take a minute or two. Now activate the pantograph so that it raises up and makes contact with the overhead catenary. When stopped for longer periods of time, or when leaving the cab, a parking brake. Use the master switch to determine the direction of travel. The train brake is used for north. Due to the size and weight of this train, small amounts of Now we're rolling, we can apply more power, and focus can be diverted towards achieving a desired speed. Coasting is a method used to easily move without injecting power. On a flat gradient, this is great for maintaining the speed limit. To bring this freight train to a safe stop, only a small amount of braking force is required. Practice and experience will teach you how much force you need. Good work! That concludes all the basics of this locomotive. Welcome to this DBpbzfa control car in DB Traffic Red livery. During this brief introduction, we will go through the startup, stopping, and passenger door operations. Climb aboard to get started. The battery will power up the control desk and allow you to interact with it. It's important to use the correct light configuration when the train is operational. A lot of your time will be spent in the driver's seat. The brake key confirms that the train is in control from this control car. To get the train up and running, set the reverser. Now activate the pantograph so that the locomotive is now ready to be entered. Headlights are important in letting others around know that a train is operational. Give a quick glance of the platform to ensure all is safe, and then unlock the doors. Boarding is now complete, so set the doors to locked. The train brake is used for normal line operating. Due to the size and weight of this train, small amounts of traction should be used to overcome initial friction and prevent overpowering the electrical systems. Now we're rolling, we can apply more power and focus can be diverted towards achieving a desired speed. Coasting is a method used to easily move without engaging power. On a flat gradient, this is great for maintaining a speed limit. There's a short distance between here and your next stop, so be sure to manage the train and prevent overspeeding. We are on the final approach to Gmunden and will soon need to start applying a small amount of brake force to achieve a comfortable stop. Like before, unlock the doors to allow passenger boarding to commence. Good work. That concludes all the basics of this control car.